This week on Hermitcraft. But why? Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is Pixelriffs, our writer is LoyXP, captions on this video were provided by Liara, and now I've eaten Pop-Tarts and been slapped by a tortilla on camera, so we're taking bets in the comments on what foods will make a cameo appearance in the Hermitcraft recap next. But at least, you know, I'm not a potato. If the context of the tortilla escapes you, then you've missed our bonus video from earlier this week when LoyXP and Liara heroically sat down to recap the charity livestream on which the Hermitcraft crew raised over $800,000 for Gamers Outreach. Not all heroes wear capes, which is a surprise to anyone who's logged into Java Edition recently.
I'm not an idiot who's gonna get scar burned eyes. Now I can touch his eyeballs with impunity. It's fine.
We aren't done mentioning it because neither are the hermits. A few of them, including Doc M and Pearlescent Moon, have just returned from hiatus and are keen to give a nod to the charity shenanigans before they throw themselves back into their usual routines. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Vintage Beef, who has only just emerged from the wine cellar. But instead of sampling the produce a little too heavily, he's spent so much time in there getting the details right, adding atmospheric lighting, discovering the new paintings, and making the surprising revelation that Netherwort looks the most like grapes.
It's actually looking really nice. I feel like it turned out pretty good.
So while he hasn't been in the drink at his own base, he's been for a swim at XB Crafted's, as he and several of the other hermits who are game for some violence decided to test out the Trident PvP arena.
Oh, this is crazy. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm getting sick. I can't see any
jousting.
For full coverage, the arena architect himself is perhaps the best point of view because he quite literally free cams some of the early matches he doesn't participate in, so you can see the Riptide users fly around and clash like it's a Dragon Ball Z fight. Watch some of these videos at 2x speed and it genuinely looks like they've been put in a blender.
No, I don't have thorns, I'm joking.
It's
like, wait, what? I didn't put thorns.
Did you take damage in our last two collisions?
Nope, because I'm great at my game.
But the other great thing you get from XB's perspective is some tips and tricks for how to use the arena, pointing out the strategy of using the central bubble column, or hiding in the buildings to avoid the speed of the Riptide users, and we see him take full advantage as the participants come and go, allowing him to drop into a few matches himself. If only there was a mechanism as efficient as his mob farm storage for collecting the stray items after one team impales the other. One thing about the Trident PvP is that Joel Smallish Beans being there and enjoying it officially verifies the arena as a Fight Club approved dueling location. It may not be as secret as the others, but let's not pretend they haven't all had YouTube videos uploaded about them.
Oh my gosh, he's just going all over the show. What's he doing?
Yeah,
I do a lot of Trident work.
What Joel also uploads the YouTube video about this week is his shrine to his own Frogger accomplishments, lost somewhere in the withins of the Japan-inspired city. The negative space, while impressive, really doesn't help with finding anything here as an outside observer, and neither does Joel's rapid building speed, as he builds up the final missing quarter of yet another sky building ready to get plastered in billboards. He even offers up one of the big blank spaces to Pearlescent Moon to once and for all put an end to the Purpur conflict they had going on now that the permit office is not there to nuke his duplicate shop.
Now, I know what you're wondering. Why this long-winded book? What could this man want? Is it a distraction? Is it something malicious? Well, I can confirm it is neither.
Viewers will be much luckier in finding anything in the future thanks to Azumavoid's efforts. To help with the future world download, X has dug up an extra room under the spawn platform to fill with lodestone compasses pointing at every given hermit's base. Whenever the season comes to an end, anyone downloading the gargantuan world will be able to find their way, provided they pick-block the compass and not punch it out of the item frame.
He had this idea earlier in the season when the recipe for the lodestone involved netherite.
And they'll have an easier time figuring out the art paintings for the gallery now that the man has embedded them with metadata, so it's easier to know which one is which when crafting one using a stonecutter. Yes, he had to replace every painting they already put up in the gallery because of this update, so you better appreciate it.
At least I'll know where to click when replacing these.
We're assuming the paint in these galleries is all mixed in whatever these vats are Joe Hills has been mixing at Homedale, although that means the 4 pigments in your inkjet printer are now water, slime, honey, and lava.
Yeah, I've seen the outside of this. I've seen how these look. These might not sell as fluid vats.
Joe gets very familiar with at least one of those elements, and thankfully it's not the lava. His outing at the PvP arena is helped by Joe being one of the more prolific Trident users on the server, and it's helped even further by Azuma whispering him in chat when the free-for-all round is announced.
Where are you going, X? Where are you going? I saw you go up
You
here.
following me?
Are you cyber stalking Asuma?
At least when the dramatic PvP betrayals are over and done with, he can go back to literally stirring the pot.
In the meantime, I also picked up more tough. Yay!
Good Times with Scar, in the meantime, has been cooking up something devious. Well, Hoffen the 3D artist cooked it up, and it's not clear which one of them's the evil one. Possibly both. But the latest Scar video features the first snack vendors of his glorious zoo, and while the nether hot dogs are probably not made of dogs, the burger 3D model does appear to have a flattened dolphin sticking out of it. If the model is not clear enough, the installation above the burger hut makes it much more clear that the patty between the buns is remarkably fish-shaped, even if it's a mammal technically. The good news is we haven't lost iJevin. This week he returns sounding just like his usual self, which is quite nice to hear after the health trouble that got him a bit ago. Mind you, he might want to get back his general Minecraft knowledge too, since he apparently forgot that chickens can absolutely clear a one-block jump, and so his poultry hen pen literally flies the coop. And that's an egg on his face.
That clearly did not work. I thought I was in the safe there, but we gotta remove these guys. Hold on.
But now that the exile is no longer holding him back, Jevin is all too happy to get to the two things he promised a long time ago, his castle keep and unrestrained commerce. To that end, he grabs the gunpowder from his creeper farm and stacks it up into a brand new firework rocket shop located at the center of a burnt crater.
Look, we didn't even need a permit either.
So the place does look like there were more than just 2 chests of stock at some point, it just all blew up comedically. Unlike Etho's tree farming area, which blew up strategically. Etho has, by his own admission, some catching up to do on all the farms he wanted to build this season. A kelp farm which needed some redesigning before it would work with multiplayer redstone timings and the coincidence of update order, and a space underground large enough to rebuild his tree farming room from Season 9, which he didn't get to use as much as he'd hoped.
I'm all out again, and it's like, I think it would be faster just to make my own farm, compared to mining sand for Doc.
You could probably say the same for Joel Smallish Beans' anti-exile bunker, which he apparently built behind a series of walls in Etho's storage rooms sometime in the last month or two.
Oh, this is 100% Cub.
This is so Cub, right?
Yeah,
I've never seen this place in my life.
right. I like this. This is
Sure.
nice.
Now the exile saga has ended and the shops are a free-for-all again, Etho decides it's time to actually act on his permits, which is probably just to justify how much he's paid Joe Hills for stone blocks since the season began, but also because he has a killer idea. As in, it will probably kill as many people as Ravager Rush has. Rock Bottom will be the name of Etho's stone store, and it'll be perhaps the first time people shop when they drop. He plans to install a dropper/parkour hybrid minigame with both safe and risky routes from surface to bedrock, allowing you to inspect the shop's stock from a variety of heights and speeds.
Do you ever have one of those ideas that, like, you know if you don't do it in that moment, it's never going to happen and you're going to feel bad forever? You know, to be honest with you, I had a plan for my permits and I just didn't do it. So even though these are terrible permits that I don't think are going to make me a lot of money, I have to go ahead with this plan, or it's going to drive me nuts.
Rendog and Pearlescent Moon experience bedrock in a slightly less aggressive way, spreading their wings and flying across the nether roof to a far-flung location more likely to feature the new additions from the Spring to Life update. Ren already got to experience leaf litter, although granted it was more like cat litter, thanks to a prank left in the space base. Who knows how that cat escaped containment?
And the culprit has been discovered. Pooping in a man's base is it's just rude, to be honest.
But when Ren and Pearl emerge in a tiger biome and immediately track down the new pigs, Ren is keen to bring home a souvenir.
Do I look like a chicken to you, madam? I'm a pig.
Well, you still belong in a pen.
They end up checking off everything from the list, returning home with wildflowers, fireflies, cactus flowers, and eggs for both the new types of chickens. But it's Pearl who decides to be their keeper until they've laid enough eggs for Ren to borrow. It's funny to see Pearl having traveled the world so much IRL and continuing that as soon as she's back in Minecraft, but she at least has a chance to work on some domestic projects, as Cubfan suggests they connect their bases with a zigzag-shaped bridge.
I'm so glad we're connected now. Yay!
As for the rest of the Cubfan containment wall, it fails miserably to contain the Cubfan, but it does occupy him for a bit while he's building it.
There we go. That's much better. That's much better.
The biggest obstacle once the general plan for the wall is made up is the lack of tough. Tough luck, as they say. But thankfully, the stuff just grows underground, and it turns out they just let you have it. So Cub lets them have it with his long-forgotten TNT duper tunnel bore, and comes home with enough tough brick to build a trial chamber. We know because he did disassemble one for this. And after that, the biggest obstacle becomes the retaining wall, because that's what it's meant to be. Ayo!
We're going to have creaking spawn from when you step on the pressure plate here to activate the creaking hearts, and then fireworks out of these babies. It's going to be great.
And finally, there's Doc M77, who is back from a holiday in Spain, during which the entire Iberian Peninsula had a power outage. We're not saying Doc is to blame, but they'd better check if he left a game-breaking redstone device plugged in somewhere. Speaking of game-breaking, on his return, it turns out Mojang changed something about nether portal blocks, and that broke half the mechanisms he uses to chunk load his base, so his world nearly got eaten for a second.
I don't even remember where they all are. Things could be broken I don't even know about.
Doc ended up skipping the entire ending of the Exile storyline, but considering it was decided in court, he just counts himself lucky he wasn't sentenced to more time in Skyblock. He's still dealing with the fallout, though, as people have started to pay for the wood at his wood shop with actual diamonds instead of stacks of sand.
It's a revolution. It's like, I didn't change the prices, what is this?
He can't be too mad at the court ruling, though, especially when this is what the judge has been doing to the Nether Hub. Perhaps the custom landscape is what inspires Doc to begin his next major project, a hand-carved cave base in an undisclosed location, complete with a sketch of a goat skull that will no doubt take more fearsome shape in the near future. Maybe it's the cave Doc will retreat to so he can study Tango's stream footage and find out exactly how he managed to score so high in the one-shot challenge.
Totally sealed up. I can't even look at your redstone.
No, not allowed.
I love looking at redstone.
And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP and my name is Pixel Riffs. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.